Welcome. This is Crime Queen, and if you're joining us for the first time, this is the channel where we get excited about love. This is where we ignite that which dwells from within us, that which comes alive, makes us smile, makes us laugh. Hence, we say the crimson light is life. So, just to remind ourselves that when we laugh and when we smile, we are actually igniting the endorphins in our body. This is it increases the endorphin levels in our body. And of course, how good is that? Really good, of course. Yes, we know this because we are happy. Okay. So, and of course, it's also contagious behavior. Sometimes we see someone laughing. We don't know what they're laughing at, but we join in. So hence, it's a really nice thing to be able to share. So I'd like to continue this presentation that on the features to actualizing self-full love. So we were really trying to bring this together, the skin, the nose, the eyes, ears, and mouth, and see how that reflects in the sacrifice, really. See how what light revelation can really throw on this for us. I'm just saying this, oh, I have rubbed out quite a bit. Okay, so perhaps revelation can really show us something here. That's what I'm thinking. I like this board, but my wooden board is much lighter. And, okay, let's just JAS. And just to remind you, or if you're new to this channel, this is the template we are working from. The template sacrifice, the word sacrifice is that hanger, it's that hinge, it's that anchor. On that, we just attach everything. We glue things on there. Okay, so we have BKT. This is the section where we believe that all agreements are done. The number 2. It's of agreement, it's of unity, it's of partnership and duality. So that's where we believe that that denotes where Christ and his disciples had the Last Supper, because also the letter B also in its makeup has the direct representation of 1, 3 when added together becomes 13, and it's a B, of course, also expressing the high chamber that Christ made reference to in Luke chapter 22. All right, so not just to keep in line of what we are doing here, that's the thing. I kind of rectify one end and the other. Okay, so we have ears and eyes here. We stick this in. Let's see how these numbers seem to transpire here. So we have skin. Skin is 8. Now I like this already because it is showing that touch is half the number of skin. So it's like there is a direct match. There is, and even with 22, it's like it gives an indication that there is a double effect in itself, although 2 and 2 is 4, but it's like there is an emphasis on those 2s. It's like they are master numbers, of course, why not? Then we have smell. Now, smell is 7, equals 7, and nose is actually 17. But what they have in common right here, well, I was going to say what they have in common is that they are odd numbers, but no, this is also 8. This is 8, just like skin. We have those 3 17s, not going away from nose, but I am just seeing those 3 17s. If we were to do 3 17s, 3 7s are 21. Let's do that. I'm doing it mentally. 3 7s 21, so we have the 1 there. Here, and 3 ones are 3, and 2 would be 5, so that would be 51. 5 and 1 is 6. So these are just, I'm just looking at this, taking us back to 6. helping us remember who we are. Okay, but let's go back to smell and nose. So we see one is 7, but if you recall in one of my presentations on nose, I think it was on nose, and I said this, I said I just saw a number 7. I just saw a number 7, but it came up to 8 when we done the nose, but now the 7 has transpired. That is our nose. Hmm? Yes. Okay, so the feature of the nose itself is showing. So basically, I get it, I get it, I get it. So the nose comes to number 8 is really the two nostrils. Yes, the two nostrils, and the 7, I've given it eyes, and the 7 comes like this. So that's the nose. Okay, something to that effect. So it's the bridge. The 7 is the bridge, and we have, this is the nose. Yes. Okay, or if we, okay. So that's the nose. Okay. So that is really showing the features there again. Did we see that with touch? Well, touch is an invisible thing, so we can't really see it as touch. But I like the way we can see the word ouch from touch. So it is, although it's invisible, but it's got its utterance, it's got its speech, it's got its representation in the ouch. And isn't it funny? I mean, had I not done this, I would have never realized that the word ouch really comes from touch. We say, oh, it's hot, and we go, ouch. We do that naturally, but then it is there in the word. It's how that teaching has gone down so deep into our psyche that we do not need to really read the word to know that we say ouch. Yes. Okay. Now, I was wondering, well, when we sniff, we can't really smell. The word smell does not really come there. Or the word sight. Sight. Well, there's the S, the I, and it's like CI. It's like SI. It's like saying, it's like, look at you, SI. I suppose there is just a little thing in that we can relate to in that way. But that comes to number 9. So sight comes to number 9, and 9 is in direct correlation with the sacrifice, where, of course, the eyes, which is the number of infinity, and which we see here. So the two eyes come to 9. So that's so sight and eyes have matched perfectly. Ye who have eyes, let him see. So those two have come perfectly. Then we have as, which also we have 6. Now that's interesting. As we have 6 and 7, but then we derive with hair. From hair we derive with we get the number 5. So it's like 5, 6, 7. And I'll just add this up and see what that comes. 5, 6, 7 would be 15, I believe. Let's see, 5, 6, 7. No, it would be 18. Yes, that would be like 3 6s are 18. So that is 11, and 7 is 18. So that would be 9. Yes, that would be 9. Okay. So that is perhaps, now we can relate to that 9 as well, because here we always see that 5 and 9, the 5, which is what we got from the word hair, which is the air, and that puts us in alignment with the Christ spirit. It puts us in alignment with Eve. It is the new part, and of course that new also equals the word key. Key is also 5. So to hear something also provides you the key to unlocking something. Yes. So anytime we come across the number 5, if we were in search for a key, we could use the number 5 to help us unlock whatever it is that we are seeking to discover. Okay. The same goes with the mouth, which is number 5. We see that in mouth as well is number 5. Now 5, again, we talk of 5 senses. Yes, we talk about 5 points, which I have been talking about, the 4 corners of the earth, but we have this point over the top of our heads as well, because we have 4 limbs and we have our heads. So you could see the 5, where the 5 is protruding from different areas of our makeup. 5 is key. We see 5 is Christ, and there are lots of 5. So what I will do is have a list of 5s that we know that we can use, or how they, and we of course have Mother Eve, which is 5. Yes. So there we go. All right. Now we have hair, which is what we have been discussing, and it comes from the 2 and 3. We covered that aspect as well. So it's like it only came from the point of that partnership and in the luck section, but the 2 together, it's like where 3 is saying to 2, I have your back. Hey, there's a union between them. And it's like saying, when we get together, we were going to form number 5, and we're going to do so much. We're going to unlock any vault. That's the message. 2 and 3. When 2 and 3 are together, that's the message that they're sending out. Then we have taste. Taste, yes. So on taste, now funny, before I move on to taste, it is also said that the last sense we tend to have before we die is the sense of smell. Now, the sense of smell, yes, I wanted to touch on that, which is also showing the total number in the sense that we have 6 days of creation and the 7th day of rest. So I just thought I would add this into this presentation here. Let's move on to taste. So taste is the number 11, which is the master number. It is where we have the only master number in all of these here. Now it also is the number that equals 2. When we look at 2, we can see that the number 2 equals, this is what's coming to mind now, it equals south. Now, of course, we eat and our food goes down south. So we can see a direct correlation with that south there as well. Now, how that comes into that agreement of what we are talking about with the sacrifice, when Christ had with the 12 disciples and he became 13, that 12 and 1 becomes 13 also happens to be in that section of what I call the basket of bread, the bucket of wine, the bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, where people are indulging and having a union, that kind of where they shake hands, where they agree on things, and that partnership takes place. So all of this seem to be like the bedrock of that agreement, like planting a seed. This is where the seed is planted down south, and there we have, of course, we hope it springs up, and it springs up. We move into that luck. We move into the developmental stage. We move into the new. We go into a folk city. There we are in gypsy land, we travel and we go through the head, and it carries on like that. But we see how the taste, this is what we eat. Our one of Perhaps it's our first, of course, in the womb. We suck our thumb, and here we see that agreement, because that is our formative sense. This is how we made sense of ourselves. We suck on the form. We had getting to understand ourselves, and that formative learning of who we are is what is transmitted in the agreement on the agreement table. So that's why it has such a strong hold. It has a strong bond, and hence that's the way that it is used, for good, for bad, but that is used to create bonds. So I hope that you have seen how we have come together with our senses, and where we, of course, so touch becomes four. So we are able to be touched from all four corners of the earth. Four, of course, denoting north, south, east, and west. The word west also equals four. The revelation equals four. Father equals four. And if I am right I have done colors, but we will go on that later. So the color blue, let's see if that's the 4. So that's 2, 3, 3, and 5. That's 8, and 2, 10, and 3, 13. So colors blue and green also equals 4. So this is where we see that 4 is giving a sense of that bond, that which protects us, like presence. It's all around us. So it's the sky and it's the earth. And that's all around us. And remember, this is how we make sense of our colors. We create those colors. So we can see how sacrifice in that developmental stage. Again, like I would say, I love to say again, because it is again to show us on number 4, which is here. This is our north, south, east, and west. This is an area where we get orientated, familiarize ourselves with all these aspects of our being. That is our developmental stage. I'm not talking about I'm really talking about when we are moving or getting ready to move into that new. This is where we get an aha moment. This is where we say, oh, we are going left instead of right. And this, of course, because left or right, whichever one we choose to do, is going to put us in a new dimension. So I hope that you have found this beneficial. Yes, it is not done under 10 minutes, but of course, this is done to sort of encapsulate the idea of familiarizing ourselves with our features and see how those features come into play with that number of sacrifice, which is 9, the number of revelation, which is 4, and 4 is what we have ended on, which is touch. Because when Christ, the crucifixion, for instance, the story we hear is meant to touch us. It is the story that is conveyed in a way, in a very graphic way, to touch our spirit, to touch our hearts. And there we have the word touch, because it is really covering our whole external self. It is our sky, it is our earth, it is the green. So it's blue and green. These are the two colors that protect and embrace us. So we look at the sky, it is blue. We look at the earth, we call it green for the trees. I'm not talking about the brown soil, but green trees, of course, green right here. And so we see again, it's about the only word here as well. Of course, We can get air from hair, but we have covered that. And we see direct correlation with eyes and sight, which is really very, of course, that would help us to be able to see as far as we can. And with all eyes or two eyes together, of course, that graphic picture or illustration that has been put to us, yes, we probably need to have that correct direct correlation that we can relate to. Okay, well, I hope you can make sense of all this. I certainly can see the it's as if that those teachings that we had were passed on to us through our senses. It was passed on through touch. It is passed on through smell. You know, it's as if we could almost smell that blood that we heard about, that cries, that the piercing of the hands and feet. You know, the screamings or the cries that might have been there, or the vinegar when we hear about that he was given vinegar to drink instead of water. So we can taste those things. And also the story has seeped into our sensories. Well, there's no other way, I suppose. But you know, every aspect of that story has a direct connection with us. So it's not just about our eyes, it is about our nose, it's about our sense of taste, it's about our sense of hearing. Because, of course, when we listen to the stories, we could almost hear the cries. If you're a mother, you would hear the cries without thinking of what it'd be like if it were um, your child, you know. So those are the things that brings to light how we have been taught this lesson or this story. I hope you have found this insightful. I am not going to make any draw any more conclusion on that. I thought I would just put this out and you can draw your own conclusions on that. And of course, see what sense it makes for you. Whatever sense it makes for you, perhaps that's what it's meant to be. So I am leaving you with that. I hope you have found it beneficial. If you like this presentation, click the like button and share. Because this is how we do it. We share to actualizing self-full love. Remember, the story was shared. Everything is shared, and that's how we do it. Okay, in the meantime, stay blissful, stay bright, and stay ignited. Be a field as well, because this is the field. We are wanting to plant new seeds in that field so we can grow bright and beautiful. All right, because we are moving over to the right. Remember, we have been doing all these figures here, and I'm just using the opportunity because we are closing this up. On this here, we have just the taste. The taste is about the taste, and of course we have 4. So 2 and 4 are the numbers that brings us back into this side of the template. So 2 where we bond, and 4 where we get our developmental stages going on. But when we did these sensories, this hair, we have come, the nearest we come to that side, to the left side, is on 5. And 5, this is where Eve opened her first eye, or her third eye rather, and this is where we meet with Christ. Okay, so I hope you found this insightful. Yes, because again, with the third eye, this is where we also meet with God. Thank you for watching. And if you like this presentation, of course, share, as I said. All right. Thank you. Oh, stay ignited.